Paul struggled with an issue in his day about how God would save the Jews. And he says in Romans 11 and verse 5, he says this, it says, even so then, at this present time, also there is a remnant according to the election of grace. You have to understand, there is a remnant. There is an election of grace. God is not calling everybody at this time. He is calling a first fruit. There is at this time an election, a first fruit that God is calling. And sometimes people will say, well, I just don't see God trying to save the world right now. And I would agree with that evaluation. I don't either see God trying to save everybody right now. That doesn't mean He's not going to, though. Or at least give everybody a chance for salvation during God's timing. Not your timing, not the preacher's timing, not the minister's timing, but according to God's timing. God is going to give everybody a chance for salvation according to His timing. That's the critical difference. And His timing involves a second resurrection. Okay, or the second resurrection. Romans 11 and verse 7 says, what then? Israel has not obtained that which he seeks for, but the election has obtained it. That is, those that God is calling now have obtained their opportunity for salvation, and the rest were blinded. Notice that. The rest were blinded. According as it is written, God has given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear, unto this day. Now, who's doing the blinding here? It's God that's doing the blinding. You struggle with this? You struggle, how come Uncle Joe and Billy Bob or whoever he is doesn't respond to God? It's God that has blinded the eyes. That's the reason people don't respond to religion in many cases. Okay. Romans 11 and verse 15. It says, for if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? This is a reference. What is life from the dead? This is the second resurrection, when the rest of the dead are going to be resurrected. All those who never had a chance. People live and die every day without knowing God. People live and die without wanting to know God. And it doesn't mean that they're lost for all eternity. It just means that God has opened their hearts, opened their minds at this present time. God has a plan for offering salvation. Everybody that's ever lived and existed is going to get at least one chance for salvation. And if they don't get that chance during this lifetime, your earthly existence, this lifetime, they will get it. If they don't get it now, they will get it in the second resurrection. Excuse me, the second resurrection. God's going to see to it that everybody gets a chance for salvation. And that's what's really in your Bible.
Traditional Christian teachings about hell would consign at least 80% or more of humanity straight to an eternal and never-ending torment in an ever-burning hell when they die. Is this really the action of a just and merciful God? Order your free copy of If God So Loved the World, Why Are So Many People Going to Hell? If you have ever been concerned about the spiritual condition of a lost loved one, then you need to read this book. You will come to understand that God truly is a merciful, compassionate God that will give everyone a chance for salvation according to His timing. Order by writing to Church of God, Rocky Mount, 27 Brookledge Lane, Rocky Mount, Virginia, 24151. That's Church of God, Rocky Mount, 27 Brookledge Lane, Rocky Mount, Virginia, 24151. Also, check us out on the web at isthatreallyinthebible.com.